Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Hemali here, and thank you so much for joining me today. Recently on my Instagram, I opened up about a condition that I suffer from called PMDD, which is a condition that is related to my period. And so many of you guys responded with either positive messages wishing me well, which I really appreciate. So thank you to everyone that was sending good vibes my way, and so many others messaged saying that they suffer from the same thing or have some similar conditions and they find it really hard to get through their period. So I just kind of wanted to make a video on how I handle my period in hopes that it might help someone else out there. I've had period problems for as long as I can remember. It's something I've struggled with all my life, and it's always been really difficult for me. And if you guys want to know about my, I guess, full period journey and all the problems that I've had with it, let me know in the comments below. I can make a separate video for that, but I'm not going to get into all of that in this video. But I am going to talk about my condition, which is called PMDD, which stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And basically PMDD is like a very heightened version of PMS. It is like PMS on steroids. You get pretty much the same symptoms as PMS, such as like irritability, anxiety, mood swings, depression, etc. But it is just so much more extreme, and I personally find it very debilitating to my life. So I'll explain kind of how my period goes. About a week to week and a half before my actual period is going to start, I'll start to get really sad. I can start to feel a change in my mood, and I get really depressed and anxious, and it's a feeling that's constant. It just like does not go away. I find that someone with like more of a normal period will still feel that, but it's not a constant feeling. It's more, it comes and it goes. Mine is more constant. I feel very depressed and anxious throughout the whole thing, and then at times it can heighten even further than that, and I'll experience panic attacks or anxiety attacks. I'm supposed to actually be getting my period within this next week, and this week alone I've had 6 anxiety attacks. I also get really severe migraines during this time, so I don't sleep for about 2 weeks. And because my depression and anxiety levels are like at an all-time high, I also suffer from sleep paralysis, and I tend to grind my teeth a lot, which adds to the migraines. So I basically just don't sleep for 2 weeks. My depression and anxiety can get so bad to a point where I start having suicidal thoughts, and I feel very just like out of control. I feel like I have no will to live. I feel really lost in life. I don't understand my purpose. I feel really useless and worthless, and honestly, like I constantly have to remind myself that this is just my period talking. Like it's not actually me. It's not how I actually feel, because once I'm off my period, I don't have like suicidal ideations at all. Like I don't feel worthless. I know what my purpose is and all those things. I feel a lot more confident in myself. It's just during this time I get like that. I also get very bad mood swings. Like I can go from 0 to 100 real quick. I can get super angry, like to a point where I even black out or throw up, just because I can't control it. It just, all I do is see red at that point, and it's very hard to calm me down. And normally when I go through a mood swing like that, it'll end in me having like an anxiety or a panic attack, which I will be hyperventilating, crying, and then probably will end up throwing up or like dry heaving. And then I have basically like your regular symptoms like cramping, bloating, pains like neck pain, back pain, shoulder pains. I get knee pains for some reason, constipation, things like that. So yeah, that's basically what 2 weeks out of the month is like for me. It's really awful. So yeah, as you guys can tell, this condition can be a lot to deal with, and it can be very debilitating on my life. In terms of like cures, there's not really like a proper cure for it. I have been offered birth control and antidepressants from my doctor, but those were some things that I did not want to go on. Birth control I've been on before, and it was just an awful experience, and I just never want to go on it again. Again, that's a story for another day. And then antidepressants, I honestly didn't really want to rely on antidepressants. I, in my heart, felt like there was other ways to get around this and control it. So I started kind of doing my research to see what worked best for me. Now, before I get into everything, I just want to say I am not a medical professional. Everything that I'm going to be telling you guys in this video is based off my own personal research and experience and what I feel like works for me. And I'm just hoping that it gives you guys like a starting point on how to look at your period problems in case you felt really lost about it all. And if you are having some serious problems with your period, I would highly recommend talking to a medical professional and doing your own research as well to figure out what works best for you. So I had to start off my research by properly understanding what happens during my menstrual cycle. And you kind of learn about your menstrual cycle in school, but they never go into proper detail about it. They'll tell you how it works, but they don't really show you the effects that it has on your body and all the things that women actually have to go through on a regular basis when dealing with their period. So yeah, I kind of had to do my research on the menstrual cycle, and I found this really great video done by GLAMOUR, and it gives you like a quick 2-minute insight of what your body goes through on a monthly basis. And I'll link it in the description below for you guys because it gives a great understanding of how our body changes so much within the month. The next thing I did was I started tracking my period, which I don't know why I didn't do this before, but it is such a lifesaver. And I understand some people have irregular periods. I've been through irregular periods too. But if you have like your period coming on a monthly basis, I would highly recommend tracking your period. It makes the world of a difference. First, it can really help you understand why you're feeling certain ways at certain times in the month. Second, if you have issues like I do, it can help you kind of more properly diagnose what's happening to you, because sometimes the symptoms can feel really random and sometimes they feel like they come out of nowhere. So if you're not properly tracking it or like journaling it really helps of like what you feel on a day-to-day basis. It can just feel like it's happening out of nowhere, it's only happening to you, and that you're just crazy. So by actually tracking and journaling, you can better predict what's gonna happen to you, when it's gonna happen, and I guess like work your schedule around that. And that's what I started doing. I started working my schedule around my period, and that really helped me become more productive. So for example, right after I've done my period or like towards the end of my period, I feel like I go back to normal. Like I feel a lot more like myself. I'm a lot more energetic and happy and whatever. So at this time, I really take advantage of how I'm feeling, and I do all the work that requires a lot of energy from me. I'll film during this time, I'll go to meetings, I go to events, do collaborations, anything that requires me to be around a lot of people, that requires a lot of high energy, that requires me to be positive and bubbly. I try to do all of those tasks around this time. I try to do a lot of prep work during this time so that when it comes around to my period, I don't have to work as hard. So when my period rolls around, I like to really take it easy. I'll do smaller tasks during this time, tasks that don't require a lot of energy, that don't require me being in front of people or in front of a camera. So for example, editing, answering emails, writing out captions, like a lot of the captions that you read on my Instagram where I'm in my feelings and, you know, just talking about really personal stuff, normally happens when I'm in and around my period, because I take advantage of really letting out my emotions at this time because I have so much built up inside of me. And working this way really allows me to rest and relax the way I need to during my period, because I don't feel so guilty about taking a nap or taking a break because I'm anxious or sleeping in, all because I was so productive beforehand that I have very little to do during this time anyways. And finding a routine like this does take time and it requires a bit of planning, but once you get into it, it makes everything so much easier. And you really don't feel as guilty about not being productive, which is a problem that I used to struggle with a lot. I used to feel so bad that I wasn't productive, and then I would like force myself to work, and it would just make my symptoms worse and make me more stressed out, and just it made everything worse. So by doing this, I feel good about myself still while giving myself the rest and relaxation I need. You also really want to avoid certain foods during this time. Sugars especially, like sugar is the the devil, I am telling you. And I didn't realize how bad sugar is for you until I started kind of doing my own research. But sugar can actually make all of your period symptoms way worse. And I'm gonna read you guys a note that I made that describes how your sugar levels affect your period right off of my book, because I don't want to mess this up since I don't have like any type of medical background, so I want to make sure I get this right. Having too much glucose can affect your hormones that control your insulin levels, which can lead to high levels of reproductive hormones like estrogen and testosterone that make your symptoms more extreme. Also, fluctuating blood glucose triggers cortisol production, which is a stress hormone that leads to higher levels of inflammation. So especially if you are suffering from things like mood swings, anxiety, and depression, controlling your sugar levels can really help with this. And you also want to avoid other things like caffeine and alcohol. Another thing that really helped me is exercise, and I understand during your period that it might be really uncomfortable to exercise because you might be in a lot of pain, or it's just uncomfortable in general. I mean, bleeding out of your vagina isn't any type of fun. So in this case, don't do any heavy exercises. Maybe take on something a little bit lighter like yoga. Participating in exercise can release mood boosting endorphins, which can really help again with your mood. And it also can take your mind off of some of the pain that you're feeling. Another thing that I like to do is meditate. I just feel like it really helps relax and calm me down, especially when I'm feeling anxious and depressed. There are supplements you can take as well. I personally haven't dabbled too heavily in the supplement area, so I don't know for sure what works and what doesn't. Some things that I've heard that work are iron pills, vitamin D, vitamin E, and certain types of vitamin B, like B12 and B6. I've been taking vitamin D. I feel like it has helped me, but again, I haven't dabbled in it enough to like give you guys a proper answer about that. That's definitely something you should probably talk to your doctor about and do your research on, because I don't know enough about it. And then the last suggestion I have is really just to talk about it a little bit more. I feel like as women, we don't talk about our periods enough, especially to those that we surround ourselves with. I like to give my fiance a warning well in advance that, you know, my period is coming. I'm going to be really irritable. Like, please try not to, I guess, annoy me or like joke around with me too much, because I'll probably take it to heart or things like that. And I'll straight up just tell people like, look, I'm sorry, I'm working really slow today. Like I'm getting my period soon. I'm just really not feeling myself. I find that when you straight up just tell people, they can be a little bit more sympathetic about what you're going through at the moment. And especially if you say this to another woman, they'll like completely get what's going on. And it just makes it a little bit easier because it doesn't seem like you're just trying to fuck off. Like you're actually going through something and someone can understand it, especially because they can't physically see what's going on in your body. So sometimes they just don't know and they might get the wrong impression of you. But if you just kind of say, oh, look, like I'm going through my period right now, I'm feeling these symptoms. So just be mindful of that, of why I'm acting the way I am. And like I said, I feel like it's just not something that we talk about so often. It's just like something that women are meant to deal with in silence, which is really annoying because all of us go through it once a month and it can be really taxing on our bodies and our minds and can just be really exhausting. So I feel like there should be some sympathy around it. That would be like getting sick once a month and, you know, everyone just being like, okay, well, deal with it. You're sick once a month, just deal with it. And if you were physically sick once a month, people would be like, well, no, stay home, like get better and then come back. Whereas like with periods, people don't really do that. They just expect you to handle it. So by openly talking about it, I feel like it'll start to shift society's mentality towards periods and hopefully make it a bigger priority to deal with, because half our population deals with it. I don't understand why it's not something that's taken more seriously. Anyways, guys, that's kind of how I deal with my period and make everything a little bit easier for me. Honestly, it's still really, really hard every month. I'm not gonna lie, but doing these things has really helped reduce my symptoms and I guess help me handle the situation a little bit better, because before I felt like I was completely out of control. I really hope this helps someone out there. And if you know anyone that's going through similar problems with their period, please share it with them. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. If you did like this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the love and support you constantly show me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!